Yo, it's your boy Jay Best, and welcome back to the Straight to the Point podcast, episode 35. All right, on today's episode, I will be talking about the Lakers and the Warriors and that great game that happened last night. And I'll be talking about the games tonight. Not really going to be talking about Miami Heat and the Knicks, because to be honest, that is the most boring playoff series that I've seen this whole entire playoffs. All right, so I'm not going to say really anything about that series, but I will be talking about the other three. All right. As always, I want to thank God for waking me up this morning and allowing me to talk about sports, which is something that I love to do. And without Him, I would not be here right now. Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk about the game that happened last night. I got it right. For those of y'all that follow my Instagram, y'all saw me say that the Lakers will win and go up 3-1. Um, Really, the Lakers they should want to win Game Five, right? Because you don't want to give the Warriors even a chance, right? You don't want to even give them a reason to believe they can come back in this series, but I think it will go 6 games. So they should do everything they can to win tomorrow, but I do believe it should end on Friday in LA, all right? So last night the Lakers beat the Warriors 104 to 101, and before I beat down this player. All right, I do want to give him his flowers first, because I feel like there's no reason to beat down on somebody that had that great of a game, but they just couldn't finish the game. And for those of y'all that don't know, I am talking about Steph Curry. Okay, so Steph Curry, we all know he had a triple double last night. Okay, he had 31, 10, and 14, 31 points, 10 rebounds, 14 assists. He played a great game for the first like 47 minutes of the game. But it's a famous saying, right? It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And he did not finish this game like a top five player in the NBA. He just did not. I believe, people gonna say that Klay Thompson is the reason why they lost this game. Klay Thompson had 9 point shot, 3 for 11. That's cool. Because guess what? They were still in the game. Yes, of course, you want him to contribute more. But even with the bad shooting night, they were still in the game. Jordan Poole played 10 minutes, got 0 points. They were still in the game. Draymond didn't have that good of a game, but guess what? They were still in the game because of Curry, right? Curry had a lot to do with it, but he had a lot to do with the loss as well. Before I get into that, let me just go ahead and give a shout out to my Lakers, all right? AD and LeBron came in and took care of business. They combined for 50 points. Anthony Davis, this was one of those games where he was due to have a bad one, right? We know that he does every other game. It's been like that since the Memphis Grizzlies series. He'll have a good game one, bad game two, good game three, bad game four. Same thing with this series. He had a good game one, bad game two, good game three, right? So this game, I'm like, okay, AD not gonna be good, so LeBron gotta do extra. But Anthony Davis came out and put up 19 points in the first half. He ended with 23, so the second half he was a no-show when it came to points, right? But he had 15 rebounds and 3 steals. So Anthony Davis, I just don't understand, right, why he can't have that mentality all the time, right? He shows us that he is the best big on the court by far in this series. He's the best big man on the court. He shows it at times, but really he has the advantage every time they get the ball. Every time the Lakers have the ball on offense, he has the advantage to go and drop 30, to go and drop knocking on 40, right, with 20 rebounds. He should do that because he's just bigger than everyone. And then the ones that's like the same size as him, he's faster than him, right? So he's faster than Kevon Looney, but he's bigger than Draymond Green. So nobody should really be rocking with AD in the paint. He really should be dominating. He dominates every now and then. He does not dominate 100% of the time, and that is one of the reasons why I just cannot put him in the top five. As a talent, I believe he can be in a top five conversation, but that mentality and just him wanting to be the best on the court at all times is what holds him back. LeBron James had a pretty good game, 27 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. All right, so LeBron doing his thing at the age of 38, he's still showing us that he is still effective, right? At some point this season, I kept hearing people say that him putting up 30 is not the same as him putting up 30 when he was younger, right? It's a different effect. Well, this 27 was very much needed. The 9 rebounds was very much needed. The 6 assists was very much needed. And before I get to Lonnie Walker, okay, because that was the star of the night, right? He showed up in the fourth quarter. I got to talk about Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves been struggling this whole entire series. And that's somebody that I thought coming to the series would give us a bigger advantage against the Warriors because he had a good series against the Grizzlies. But he been struggling until yesterday. Yesterday, he finally got his rhythm. He finally got going from the three-point line. He got his confidence back, and he had 21 points. All right, but Of course, the star of the night was Lonnie Walker, all right, who had 15 points in the fourth quarter. This was the first time somebody off the bench scored 15 points in the fourth quarter since Kobe Bryant back in 1997. All right, so I mean, this was make sure you're ready whenever you get your name called. Basically, that's what it was. So all the kids out there that play basketball or football, whatever it is, stay ready. Okay, because whenever you get your name called, you should go in there and do what Lonnie Walker did. Okay, make the best out of the moment. Maximize your effort, maximize what you bring to the team whenever you do get a chance. Because now Lonnie Walker, 9 times out of 10, is going to be back in the rotation. Okay, he wasn't playing that much this playoffs. He was playing a lot during the season, but then after the trade deadline, his role just started to decrease. And then guess what? He gets his chance in this game, and he came and he made it worth every second. All right, so 15 points in the fourth quarter. He is really, I want to say, a big reason why the Lakers were able to pull this game out. I also think Austin Reeves' 21 points was a huge addition as well to the reason why the Lakers won this game. So one thing I said about the Lakers going into the playoffs is that they're deep. Okay, we are deep. We have in this playoffs since the Memphis Grizzlies series, there's been games where Rui Hachimura took over, where Austin Reeves took over, where Dennis Schroeder took over, where D'Angelo Russell took over, and then Lonnie Walker. Okay, that's like 5 people right there that can take over a game whenever they can, right? Whenever they feel like it, really. Okay, we've seen it from those players throughout this whole entire playoffs. So it's more than just Anthony Davis and LeBron. Okay, we see these players stepping up and making a huge impact on the outcome of the game. So the Lakers are a deep team, and then of course defensively they are a top team in the league, probably the best defensive team left in the playoffs. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the ending of this game, how it really unraveled. Okay, so it was a good game. For the first 3 quarters, it was a great game. Even the fourth quarter was a good game, but this is where the game was lost. So back to Steph Curry, all right? He had the triple-double. I give him all the praise in the world for that. But the last minute of the game, really the second half, okay, the last minute of the game, he lost it for him. But the second half, he wasn't playing as good as people would think, okay? In the second half, Curry went 6 for 19, 1 for 9 from the three-point line. Okay, he just was not, he just wasn't feeling it, right? He just, in the second half of the game, he kind of fell off. But it still looked good because he was getting the assists, right? He was getting the rebounds. And he was scoring every now and then, but 6 for 19 is not good at all. Curry, in the last minute, this is where I say that the game was lost. It was going into the fourth quarter, it was up by 7, right? And the Lakers came in the fourth quarter, was hot and tied it, and then the Warriors had to call a timeout. But at the last minute of the game, Steph Curry had the ball. It was down. Well, rewind a little bit before that. LeBron James took a terrible shot. Okay, LeBron James, this is my problem with him this series. Really, this playoffs, okay? With 47 seconds left, he took a dagger 3, right? He was up by 1, so he's trying to go up by 4. I see what he was trying to do, but you don't have the hot hand right now. In this series right now, this series alone, he's 8 for 29, okay? 27.6% from the three-point line. He's not shooting good right now, so keep doing what you do. Drive to the basket. But the whole entire playoffs, he's 23% from the three-point line. Okay, so LeBron, you just don't got it right now. You don't have the hot hand from the three-point line, so stop shooting threes. Get to the basket like you was doing yesterday for the most part. But, of course, he did take that 3, and they missed. The Warriors got the ball. Steph Curry has the ball, okay? They get the switch they want, Anthony Davis and Steph Curry. The first shot, I keep watching it over and over again. The first shot wasn't that bad, okay? The first shot was a pretty good look. It went in and out. Draymond Green gets the rebound. Some people argue that Draymond could have went back up because Dennis Schroeder was on him. So he could have took one little power dribble and went back up. Who knows? Knowing Draymond, he could have smoked the layup. But they get the ball back to Curry, and this is the shot that I have a problem with, okay? Steph Curry, this shot just looked so rushed. It just didn't look smooth at all. It just looked sloppy to me, right? And there was still 8 seconds left on the shot clock. So, I mean, it's not like this to me, this is a shot. I texted my dad last night. I said, this is the shot that you take when there's no time on the clock left. Yes, Steph Curry can hit this shot. I got it. But in that moment, with that much time on the clock, with the score being, when you being down by 1 point, you don't even need a three-pointer. But he took the 3. Right, Steph Curry is very capable of making that shot, but I feel like in that moment against AD, that's not a good look because AD has he's long enough to be able to contest that shot. He should have tried to take him, Or I heard some analysts say that he needs to pass the ball and try to run away from Anthony Davis, right? Like he does when he's playing off ball. But I think he could have took a better shot than that. It just looked so rushed, and for what? You're down by one. I don't think 3-pointer was needed. Okay. So then after that, Lakers get the ball, right? They shoot their free throws, and then because they had the foul, right? So they shoot the free throws, and then they get the ball back. And this is the play with Draymond. They inbound the ball to Draymond. Draymond drives to the baseline, and they're looking for a play called Hammer. Okay, Hammer. Everybody know the play for some reason. Hammer. Okay, and this with Klay Thompson is supposed to be on the opposite 3-point line. He's supposed to come off a screen from Andrew Wiggins. But if you pay attention to LeBron James, he pointed out the whole entire play. He told Anthony Davis, "Look, don't even switch." He said, "Don't." He said, "Switch." I'm sorry. He said, "Switch and just stay in the corner. Don't even worry about the pick. Just stay in the corner." And he did. And Klay Thompson wasn't open. And then Draymond drove, had nowhere to go, threw the turnover. Then they get another chance because the ball, it was a jump ball, right? And then Anthony Davis got tied up, right? They didn't call timeout. He got tied up. So then there was a jump ball, and Steph Curry gets the ball, falls down to the ground. He had a timeout left. So in this situation, right, people will look at Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr said he called the timeout, but Curry, you got to call the timeout, bro. In the King series in Game 4, I believe, Curry called a timeout with no timeouts left. But in this situation, he did not call a timeout, and he had a timeout, and this timeout would have been very, very useful because there was just no time left on the clock. So I think they would have got at least one more chance to get a shot up, but they didn't. And this game came down to that. I think Curry just took a bad shot at the end and a stupid turnover at the end, and I think that's what led to the loss for the Warriors. This series to me is, I want to say it's over, but if anybody can do it, if anybody can come back from 3-1, it's the Warriors. Okay, I think that championship pedigree that they've been tested. They've been test driven. Okay, they've been through the trenches, right? They've been through many series. They have championships, and I think that they're the only team in the playoffs that can come back from a 3-1 lead. But I don't expect it to happen. I do expect the Lakers to win in 6. The Warriors should win at home, and the Lakers should win in LA on Friday and finish this series off. But that was a great game last night, and like I said, the Lakers beat the Warriors 104-101. The Lakers are up 3-1 in this series. All right, I want to talk about the two games tonight. Like I said, the Knicks and Miami game, I'm not really, I don't really care about that series. And Knicks are down 3-1, but the Miami Heat is up 3-1, and that series should be over with, if not Game 5, in Game 6. All right. The Suns and the Nuggets. All right, this is a series that I really thought the Nuggets was just gonna bash the Suns, because what do I always talk about? I talk about the Suns don't have a bench. They don't have a bench. When in games 1 and game 2, okay, when the Suns was down 0-2, the Suns lost the first 2 games. The Suns on the bench only scored 28 points combined in game 1 and game 2. Okay, so game 1 and game 2 combined, 28 points. It's not enough. You're not helping Devin Booker out. You're not helping Kevin Durant out. You're just not helping the starting 5. All right, and then, of course, Chris Paul injury, too. I forgot to mention that. I thought the Suns was pretty much done. All right, but then games 3 and 4 that they won back in Phoenix, the bench got them 62 points combined. So 28 points in the first 2 games, 62 in the last 2 games. Right? That is the difference between a win and a loss for the Suns. The Suns need their bench to come and help. All right, Landry Shamet, right, had 19 points last game, 12 points in the fourth quarter. He hit 4 threes in the fourth quarter. That's what really put the nail in the coffin for that game. That's what really beat the Nuggets in that game, because Landry Shamet came in and did his thing. Now, Landry Shamet, I don't see that happening again. It's a difference between Landry Shamet and Lonnie Walker. I saw Lonnie Walker doing things similar to this. Not necessarily 15 points in a quarter, but Lonnie Walker had a pretty good season. Right, he was getting minutes. At one point, he was almost a starter, right? But when we made the trade, things changed, right? He's rolling up decreasing. But Landry Shamet was never starting for the Suns, and I do not think he could ever score 19 points again. 12 points in the fourth quarter. They needed every single one of those points. So I think that that's what it comes down to. Can the bench give the Suns help, or will it just be a Devin Booker and KD show and they end up falling short? But I got to give Devin Booker credit, man. Devin Booker has been by far the best offensive player, the best scorer in this playoffs. People gonna say Jimmy Butler, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with Devin Booker because not just the points he's putting up, but the field goal percentage. Devin Booker, in the 2 game span, so the past 2 games that they won, he had 47 points in game 3, 36 points in game 4, and in both of those games combined, he's had 75% shooting. Okay, in one of them games, he went in both of them games combined, he went 10 for 10 for mid range. So that's 100% from mid range. He went 16 for 21 in the paint, and then he went 8 for 12 from the 3-point line. He is playing out of his mind right now. Okay, it's like he is just possessed, and I don't think that he can shoot at that level for the rest of this series. But can he go out there and put up 47 and 36? Yes, he can, because nobody can stop him. Like I said, I think he is the best scorer in the playoffs this year. All right, so Devin Booker playing 36 points per game, and then Kevin Durant pitching in his 32 points per game. But Nikola Jokic, y'all, I actually have respect for this man now. For some reason, I just never really liked Jokic. I just don't. Right, and people will look at me and say, "Oh, because he white." No, because I like Luka Doncic. So it's just something about Nikola Jokic that I just can't. It just I just can't get. I just can't like the man. I just don't like his game. But last game when he dropped, I think it was 47 points, 51 points, something like that. I'm starting to get respect for him. Okay, he's showing me that he can get a bucket whenever he needs to. Right, if you can drop 50 points in a game, that means you can get a bucket whenever you want to. Right, but I think the Nuggets are better when Jokic is facilitating and crashing the boards. Last game he wasn't really crashing the boards, but he was scoring and he wasn't really facilitating like he normally does. Okay, so I think that they need him to go back to the facilitating role and the rebounding role more so than the scoring role. But that's when Jamal Murray got to step up and do what he did in game 1, and that's go out there and score 30 points. So I do think that this series, whoever wins tonight, I think will win this series, because this is the thing about series that are tied 2-2. Game 5 is really, really important, because that determines whether you need to win one more game or 2 more games, right? If you win game 5, you can drop game. You don't want to drop game 6, but you can drop game 6 and win game 7, right? But if you lose game 5, you have to win game 6 and you have to win game 7. So the pressure is really put on whoever loses tonight. And I got the Nuggets winning at home. So I do think the Suns will lose this series. It could go 7 games, but I do think that the Nuggets will pull it out tonight at home. Jokic is not suspended for that little thing that happened between him and the owner on the sideline. So I do think the Nuggets will pull this out. And I think it's going to be a really good game, first of all. Really good game. But I do think the Nuggets are going to pull this out. And then the pressure's on the Suns. And can the Suns win 2 straight? I don't think so. All right, so I got the Nuggets winning this series. And then the 76ers and the Boston Celtics. This is real quick. I ain't got to talk about this for a long time. James Harden. You need to show up. It's simple. As simple as that. In the 2 games that y'all won, James Harden had 45 points and 42 points. In the 2 losses, he had 12 and 16. In the first game, there was no Joel, so he had to drop 45, right? He had to do that because he's really the only star outside of Joel that they have. The rest of them are just like really good role players. Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey, like mini stars, but he's the only star they have other than Joel Embiid. In game 2, Joel's first game back, Joel had 15, James Harden had 12. I think they got blown out that game. And then when they went back to Philly, Joel had 30, James Harden had 15. Right, you're not contributing. But then the last game, Joel had 34, and James Harden had 42. I think James Harden, so during the season, him being that facilitator, leading the league in assists per game and stuff like that, that has to dwindle just a little bit in the playoffs. You have to, whenever you're in the playoffs, you got to have star power. You got to have that 1-2 punch, right? When they, like in the game before, the game I was talking about earlier with the Lakers, AD and Bron combined for 50. You and Joel need to combine for 50 every night. 50 or more every single night, because Joel going to get his. We know that. But if you are playing the passive, the I don't want the ball, I just want to pass the ball kind of role, that's not going to help you in the playoffs. In the regular season, that's all cute and everything. But in the playoffs, you have to go out there and give Joel a second man. You got to give him a Robin to his Batman. You have to. And sometimes that means you got to drop 40. Sometimes it has to happen, especially when you have the ability to. We saw James Harden in Houston. He was able to do it. And we see flashes of the Houston James Harden in this series. But it's just not on a consistent basis. I'm not saying every night you got to drop 50. I'm not saying that at all. but you have to contribute more than just assists and more than just rebounds if you are the second star on the team. Okay, so I do think that James Harden just has to show up, and this Philly team will be okay. But Boston tonight, once again, the series is tied 2-2. I do think Boston will go and win this game at home and put the pressure on Philly to win 2 games. But I do think Boston is just deep. It's just too deep. Like the 76ers, um, Joel Embiid had 34 points and James Harden had 42 points, and they still barely won that game. So that kind of it makes me sit back like, kind of makes you scratch my head a little bit. Like y'all scored that many points, you two, there's 2 stars combined, but they still barely beat the Celtics. That just show you how deep the Celtics are. Malcolm Brogdon, okay, a name that people really don't know, who came from Indiana and playing with the Boston Celtics right now, averaging like 17 points a game in this series off the bench. Okay, so this Boston team is really deep, and I do think that they can pull this win out at home tonight, and then put the pressure on Philly. Philly can win Game 6, but Game 7, I'm going to take Boston in Boston, and then with the Suns and Nuggets, I'm going to take Denver tonight, and then take Denver in Denver if they don't win Game 6. All right. But that's it for today. I had a short episode. Didn't want to keep y'all too long. But y'all stay blessed. All right, y'all stay safe, and y'all make sure that y'all catch my next Straight to the Point episode. If y'all have not yet, please go follow my Instagram. If you haven't yet, subscribe, share, and please like and comment. If y'all want me to talk about anything else, comment in the videos. Okay, I got some people suggesting that I talk about certain things. Some people that want me to talk about certain things. I'm working on it. Okay, I can't do everything in one video. Okay, I'm working on certain things. But all right, y'all stay blessed, and I'm out.